Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mike Worley with Alpha Defense Research. So glad you could be a part of this series. We're going to take a look at some of the craftsmen and the unique work they do here in the mountains of Western North Carolina. I've got with me this morning James Dillon. James, listen, thanks so much for having me here this morning. I want to share with the group that's watching this morning a little bit about who you are and what you do. And as people are taking a look, they see these really unique knives. And first question I have is, how in the world did you get interested in starting to design and build something like this?
Oh man, well, it started about 2016, right around there. I was a junior in high school, and I always liked knives and swords and things like that. One day I was online, I think I was on Instagram, and I saw a knife that I really liked. And I remember thinking to myself, it was a handmade knife, and I was like, man, I love everything about that except a couple small things. And I remember thinking that there's no way I could afford to have that maker change those things and do it custom. And I was like, well, I guess I could try on my own. It's not impossible. And then, from there, YouTube solves everything. You can go down that route as far as you want to, and that gave me all the information I needed to get started. And then eventually, you kind of snowball into hopefully knowing a little bit, but YouTube will get you going.
Well, I got kind of tickled at an opportunity to talk to you a little bit before this meeting today. I understand that you built a kiln at your house, so probably some trial and error there. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, when kiln's a really strong word here. Kiln is really sophisticated for this. When I was starting, obviously, I was fortunate enough to have some tools around the house already, but not a lot. And anything that's going to get that hot, I didn't have. And what it was really is I kind of did landscaping for summer to try and get some Harbor Freight tools and stuff.
Right.
And then, you need to heat treat knives. They have to be hardened. The steel doesn't come in a form that's going to be good for a knife. And to heat treat it at the beginning, the only thing I had was a small fan and a hole I dug into a hill with some just charcoal to try to, and it got hot enough, probably. I mean, I wouldn't trust the heat treat on those first few knives for my life, but it got me going, and that was, just a hole in the hill. It did it for a while.
Well, from the looks of things, it looks like you've come pretty darn close to perfecting the manufacturing of these devices. Now, for those that are joining today, you're going to hear us use the term EDC. It really just stands for everyday carry. So tell us a little bit about how you've evolved and some of the types of knives that you've done, but why this one's probably standing out as one of the most unique for you.
Yeah. So, when I started, it was sort of hunting knives and things like that, sort of outdoor knives. That's what interested me, and that's what I was making by hand for a while. And then I had some friends that were in the culinary world. A lot of what I did was chef's knives.
Okay. I
did that for years and years and years. And I still love making chef's knives. Really like them a lot. But recently, past couple of years, what's been catching my interest are sort of defensive style EDC knives,
okay,
everyday carry knives, which is what these are. We call this the Paradigm, and these are, like I said, defensive style knives. What we like about these a lot, the whole design of this was that the butt is in line with the tip, and the tip is really supported and really robust so that you could plunge it. You could probably put this through a car hood with no problem. It's a really strong point, really strong knife, and it's all premium materials. We make these, it's just milled aluminum for the scales that either gets anodized or Cerakoted, but the blade is CPM MagnaCut, which is a new knife steel to the market. It was only developed a couple of years ago. Very impressive steel. And these are all cryogenically treated and made with the care and love that handmade knives that I've made have always had, but now it's integrating the manufacturing world a little bit, a little more production in there.
So with that said, you brought this concept and this idea that you have to that ADR. Tell us a little bit about how that's helped improve, probably even sped up the design as well as the manufacturing, and maybe even made it more cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what we're doing at Alpha Defense Research is we're kind of conglomerating a lot of things that are pretty similar: guns, knives, defensive things like that. And there's a lot of resources here, a lot of people to help. It's been phenomenal. A lot of this couldn't have happened. A step into the production world couldn't have occurred without it. And I think it's all really symbiotic. It all works together. There's lots of people to bounce ideas off, lots of people that are in the same headspace that are kind of looking in the same direction, but
Right.
with different perspectives, it's phenomenal. And this knife wouldn't have existed without that. It just wouldn't have.
Well, I tell you, it's a beautiful knife. It looks like it's very well balanced. You know, the handles, I've been able to use a couple of these, just feel of it. It's much better than the Barlow or the Swiss Army knife I used to carry. Tell us a little bit more about the material you're using. You said there's some things that are new to the market. Is that easier to manufacture, to work with? What's the advantages of having this new material?
Well, you know, a lot of what we're shooting for here is that there are already Swiss Army knives and there are already buck knives. You can buy simple fixed blade knives,
Okay.
but we're not at all interested in racing for the bottom. No,
Right.
Somebody else is always going to be able to make it cheaper, but we want to make a knife that is premium quality, and it's kind of the knife that we see. You know, and this. I'm sure everybody thinks this about a knife that they design and make, but it surprises me that this knife doesn't already exist.
Right.
We made it because that's the knife we want to see. And yes, it's all premium materials. It's all designed to be as rugged as possible, to last you as much as possible, and we want it to be really pretty and look like a knife that you would put in a display case. But I hope you use it. I hope if you have one, you really use it hard. I carry mine every single day, and I beat the brakes off of it. And it keeps on ticking.
That's wonderful. And also with your relationship with ADR, being here on site, and also the material, you kind of struck a balance between what you're machining and what you're handcrafting.
Yeah, definitely. You know, hand making a knife to the degree that it can be handmade. You're still using tools. I'm not using a whetstone and a pedal. Even if I'm grinding them, I grind them on a grinder. But I do that by hand, and it's all assembled by hand still, and it's heat treated. I heat treat them all myself. But some of the precision and the fitment can only be done with a machine. So the hope there is to blend the beauty and care of handcrafting with the precision that you can only get from modern machinery. It's the only way it can be done, and blending those two things is sort of a tricky balance because it's a foot in each world. But I think that's where there's a really, really nice balance in there of handcrafted care and a precision, really as high quality knife as you can get.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if we have an opportunity to get a little closer shots on these, but I can tell you just from looking at these are very, very nice knives. They're sturdy knives. I feel like I have my hand on something for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it flipping back on my knuckle because it's a solid piece. Great handle, great design, great balance. Sounds like the material quality, the quality of the material that you're putting forth is top of the line. There's nothing like it. So you're evidently filling a gap in the everyday carry market. What I'd like to do is be able to have some time with you and maybe even show the audience over the next few series how this thing's made.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, this wraps up just I think the general interview of what we want to do, and I'd like to be able to head out and take a look at how this is designed, how it's manufactured, and some things that really set this apart in the EDC everyday carry market. Thanks again for joining us, and I cannot thank you enough for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.